Hi, kites and kingfishers. So you're going to be writing a summary of the biography that you haven't yet written yet, but you've got loads of facts and you've started planning it. So normally the summary is at the end, which it will be, and we normally write it at the end. But this time I really feel that it'll be useful to just pull it together before you even start writing your biography. So it's a good chance for us to practice using the conjunctions that you've got on the sway today. Use those. That's the priority today, using one of those to start each of your sentences, and I'll show you how in a moment. So if we go through those very quickly, you've got ones that you can use here in yellow, which are instead of and. You've got some that you can use with a relative clause. You've got time conjunctions telling you when things are happening to link your paragraphs together. Well, all of these are to link them together. You've got words to use instead of but. And I want you to use these formal conjunctions. I don't want you to use but, and because, unless you really have to use and sometimes. These are your formal conjunctions, and this is a formal piece of writing. Emphasis. So instead of saying really, 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 and I know I use that word far too often when I'm marking your work, for instance, I should be using words like especially and particularly and exactly and above all. They've got example ones, so if you want to give an example of something, you can say such as, or in particular, for instance. You've got words to use instead of because. You need to be very careful how you use them, because you don't use them, can't literally swap the word because with one of these, but you need to just think about your sentence, read it back and make sure it makes sense. We've got words that are similar to, so you might compare two things and say just like blah blah, or similar to the situation, and then you've got words to sum up things. Now, I was going to start mine by summing up, but I thought actually I'm going to use a different conjunction. So even though it's a summary, I don't have to start with to sum up, because it's a biography, and so it doesn't need to start like that. Now here we have some sentences and phrases that I have taken from the list that Mr. O'Connor gave you. So you should have yesterday, where is it? You should have filled in this sheet, or at least written your own version of it. If you don't have a printer, that's fine. But you should have taken all of the facts that Mr. O'Connor gave you, which are here, and put them into the right places. And that's your plan. Now, the bit we're focusing on today is the death and legacy, which is basically your summary. So can you, in your books, write summary of the biography? And you can even write summary of the biography of Martin Luther King, if you want to. Kick there. And you check you spell his name correctly. Okay. And so for my summary, I'm going to start, there it is, with some conjunctions. So I've decided, and I've already made a decision about which conjunction. Why can't you? There we go. I'm going to start with as a result. So it's like a because, but I'm not starting my sentence with a because exactly. I'm saying as a result of something, something else has happened. As a result, I don't want it underlined, of the enormous effort and impactful protests. I've used and. Shall I change that to one of my and words? As well as. So I've improved it. Could have used and, but as a result of the enormous effort as well as the impactful protests, the enormous effort, his enormous effort, as a result of his enormous effort as well as the impactful protests, Martin Luther King. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this first one. Martin Luther King continues to inspire many people to demand a fairer world in which people of different races are treated equally. I don't want to just use the exact sentence I've been given. I want to make it my own, and I want you to do the same. So I'm just swapping around the words and adding my conjunction in. As a result of his enormous effort, as well as the impactful protests, Martin Luther King inspires, so even today, inspires people, even today, got the parenthesis there, to demand a fairer world. So I have magpied that bit there, look, to demand a fairer world, and the word inspire as well. But I've changed it to inspires because it's still happening. To demand a fairer world. And now I'm going to use my but word, despite. So it's not used in the same way as but exactly, but I'm going to say, despite this, something else happens. Okay, so despite having made many speeches, many's not very formal. On Monday, we're going to talk about formal language. I'm going to change it now to something more formal. Numerous. Despite having made numerous speeches, comma, he has been remembered. There we go. I have a dream speech. So he's been remembered for his, and I need quotation marks, and it's the title of the speech. So I'm going to give it capitals. Have a dream speech. And I read it back to check it makes sense. Despite having made numerous speeches, he has been remembered for his I have a dream speech. Most of all. He's been remembered. Most is a bit boring. We've got particularly, especially, exactly, maybe not. Above all. Oh, I could put that here. He's been remembered particularly. So I'm using the words that are over here for emphasis instead of really. Particularly for his I have a dream speech, and it says above all. I like that more than most of all. Above all. So I'm really just taking what I've given myself, or I've given you all, conjunctions, just using those words, using what Mr. O'Connor has given you to write something that is actually still my own words. So he has been remembered particularly for his I have a dream speech, above all. And then I'm going to use one of my conjunctions. For this reason, there is a public holiday. That means that's like a bank holiday. It means that everyone gets the day off. For this reason, there is a public holiday in the USA. I'm going to put that in parentheses. Every year. And I could go on and say where everyone gets the day off or something like that to celebrate his life. I'm going to stop there, so I'm not going on too much and give you a chance to write. But before I do, I'm going to highlight my conjunctions, and I want you to do the same thing or underline them. You don't have to highlight them. As a result, where's another conjunction? Oh, it's the start of my sentence. So at the start of each sentence, I have used a conjunction from the list. So again, the start of the sentence, I've used a conjunction, and I've used a few others in the middle of my sentences as well. Look how many conjunctions I've used in just 3 sentences. I'm feeling quite proud of myself. I want you to do the same. Use lots and lots of these formal conjunctions, please. I'm not asking you for pages and pages of writing, just 2 or 3 sentences, but they need to be really good sentences. So spend some time doing it, please, just like I have.